Hello, kids. This is the story about Jesus when Jesus is going to die on Good Friday. So, what is the happening? I'm going to right now topic. We're gonna just see the topics, and the end of the story. I'm going to read it. So, this is the topic that disciples fall asleep. You can see in Mark chapter 14, 33, 42 verse. So, this is the kids' Bible. This is the story about when the disciples is sleeping and Jesus is praying on mountain. In this, the topic is betrayed with a kiss. This is the story about when Judas kissed the Jesus and all the soldier is coming with swords and they come with the weapons in the garden. This is the story about Jesus is taken away when the darkness covering your eye and you can't see the truth. This is Jesus talking about the people. This is a story about Peter's denial. When Peter denial 3 times. So this is the story in the Children's Bible with the pictures you can see. This is the story about Jesus is questioned when the priest and all the people is a question about Jesus, different questions. We're going to read it soon, all these stories, but right now I'm just covering the Good Friday topic, so that's why I'm just covering the whole story about from the garden Gethsemane. And right now this is the story about Jesus is sent to Herod when Jesus is standing in front of the Herod. Now the story about a Pilate tries to free Jesus. This is the Pilate, and he wants to Jesus be free, but the people said no, crucify him. These are the people. This is the story about Jesus is sentenced to death. Now you can see they they said crucify him, so they going to crucify and they going to say a different kind of bad words to Jesus. This is the story about weeping woman. We all going to read this story soon, but today's I'm covering only the Good Friday story, the last story. Jesus is nailed to a cross. This is the topic. When Jesus nailed to the cross, this is the picture. And this is the last story about Good Friday. Jesus dies, and I'm going to read today this story. So all of the story we're going to cover the soon, and I'm going to read on YouTube, my channel. But this story today I'm going to read, and we gonna end of the Good Friday, because after Saturday and Sunday we're going to read about Easter story when the resurrection day comes. Jesus dies, Luke chapter 23, 39, 44 verse. And you can see the second book, John chapter 19, 28 to 30 verse. One of the criminals who was begun crucified said to Jesus, "Aren't you the Lord? Save yourself and save us." But the other criminal told him, "Don't you fear God? We have punished for doing wrong, but Jesus is truly innocent." Then he said to Jesus, "Remember me after you die." Jesus replied, "I promise that you will be with me in heaven." Just then a cloud blocked the sun and the sky turned dark. Jesus knew his time was almost done. "I'm thirsty," he said. So someone soaked a sponge with wine. They tied to a long plant stem and lifted it to Jesus' mouth. He drank from the sponge. Then he said, "Everything is finished." And he bowed his head and died. So this is the last story when Jesus died. These are all story about Good Friday. And have a blessed Good Friday. Bye-bye.